Hey everybody, it's Alex at Motoroso.com, and in this video, we're going to be talking about all the suspension options we found for the 6th Gen Bronco at SEMA 2022. Now, we made a similar video from the show we went to in 2021, and there's some of those products that are going to carry over into this year's show, but there was also some new products that got announced. You're going to want to check that out. Now, all the products that we talk about in this video, we don't sell all of them, but we do sell a lot of them. For the ones that we do, we'll put links to those in the description. Those will take you over to Motoroso.com, where you can shop with us, or you can reach us on live chat, or call us toll free at 833-MOTOROSO. We love helping our customers with their Bronco builds. Now, before you buy any suspension components, you really want to think about how you're going to use your Bronco. What's your goal here? Do you just want to fit a little bit bigger wheels and tires? That's fine. But if you're going to actually use this thing off-road, you might want some performance gains like ride height control, more wheel travel, or control over the damping like compression damping adjustments. It's going to help you get more performance and tune the suspension to perform exactly the way that you want it to. And then, of course, you need to think about what's your budget. How much are you going to spend on all this? And the parts can range from as low as $150 for a simple strut spacer on up to well over $10,000 if you want to go crazy. But don't worry, there's plenty of great options in between. And then, are you going to install it yourself, or are you going to have to pay somebody to install it? That $150 strut spacer might sound cheap, but if you're paying somebody else to install it, that could add up to easily $1,500 in labor. Then it wasn't so cheap. After all, you might want to think about going with something higher quality if you're going to pay somebody to do all that labor to get it in. Anyways, we'll take you through all of those options here in just a minute. Okay, and just a quick note on what size wheels and tires you can pair with which different lift heights. Now, depending on whether you're starting with a base or a Sasquatch, the Sasquatch already comes with 35-inch tires, so you're already there. You don't have to lift too much more, only about another 2 to 3 inches from there to fit 37s. But if you're starting with a base, you're going to need to lift 1 to 2 inches to fit 35s. So you're going to need to lift 3 to 4 inches to fit 37s. Now, tires 38 inches or 40 inches are possible on the Bronco, but you're going to need to lift between 4 and 7 inches to accomplish that. And it's definitely going to require some cutting and trimming of components in the wheel well to make sure that your clearances are okay. Now let's talk about all the different ways that you can lift your Bronco. And we're going to start with strut spacers and spring collars. Now this is going to be a short section because this is not our favorite way of doing this. If you're just looking to fit larger wheels and tires, this could be a good option for you. But if you're actually looking for off-road performance, skip to the next section because this is not where you're going to find it. Now, a simple 1 to 2 inch strut spacer lift can be had for well under $300 from brands like ReadyLift, Superlift, or Rough Country. But a 3 to 4 inch lift kit can be had here that's going to combine a strut spacer and a spring collar to give you maximum increase in ride height, and it's going to pair it with an upper control arm to make sure you don't break your stock control arm. You can get these from brands like Superlift, ReadyLift, or our favorite in this category is the Fabtech kit, because that comes with their tubular steel upper control arm, which we're going to talk about later, and it's the same upper control arm that comes in their $5,000 coilover suspension kit. So it's a really high quality product. And what that means is this is your inexpensive solution to lifting now, but if you want to add better suspension later, all you have to do is replace the coilovers and the trailing arm at a future date. So you kind of take baby steps towards your full lift kit. And that's going to set you back a little over $1,000. Now, just a reminder, again, the same work goes into replacing a strut spacer lift as installing basically any other full suspension kit. So it's actually a lot of work, and that might cost you a lot of money. So remember, even if you're spending $300 on the parts, you might spend $1,000 on labor. And if you're spending that much on the labor already, well, you ought to consider investing a little bit more in quality suspension components so you get off-road performance as well. And that takes us on to our coilover suspension kits. Now, we define full lift kits that we're about to talk about now as kits that include all the shocks and the control arms you need to lift your Bronco properly and adjust for all the alignment, instead of pairing coilovers to control arms, which we're going to talk about in the next section. Now, these full lift kits are also all what I'm going to call standard width or stock width lift kits. And that's because they keep the lower control arm and they don't widen the stance of your Bronco, unless, of course, you're doing a deeper offset wheel. But I say this because there are going to be some long travel options in the industry that are going to widen your Bronco 3 or more inches. And I'm going to talk about those a little bit later in the video. Those are massive projects. These are your more normal suspension lift kits. And the first one we're going to cover is the Fabtech full coilover replacement lift kit. And that's because it was the most common that we saw at SEMA this year. And that's because it launched last year and immediately established itself as one of the best values. For under $5,000, you get a remote reservoir coilover replacement that increases your front wheel travel by 3 inches when paired with their upper control arm, and it also includes the trailing arm. So it's a full kit that bolts right up, and it's under $5,000. We made a separate video about that, and we'll put a link to that in the description. And we go into way deep detail detail about that thing, and we have these in stock right now. So these are a great option for people looking for a solution at the moment. We also saw quite a lot of Belltech lift kits there, and they have two options. They've got their 0 to 4 inch adjustable trail performance kit, which is a great option that we also made another video about. We think this is great for people that are working on a little bit of a tighter budget, $2,500 for the whole coilover kit, and it includes a rear sway bar, so it's going to enhance handling and towing performance. Great option for people that primarily want to drive their Bronco on the road, but they still want an increase in performance off-road. Belltech is also the only brand that we know offering a kit more than 4 inches. They have their 4 to 7 inch trail performance kit, which includes a dropped crossmember, one of the only ways you can really get that kind of ride height. So for anybody looking for the maximum lift height, this Belltech kit might be the way to go. Now, because we also saw a Fabtech dropped crossmember on one of the builds, that might mean that Fabtech is also working on a 6 to 7 inch lift for the Bronco, but they haven't formally announced anything, so that was probably a prototype and they were still being a little hush-hush about it. And then we got all the options from Icon Vehicle Dynamics, and there are a lot of options. Brace yourself for this one. There are 30 different full lift kits from Icon Vehicle Dynamics for the new Bronco, and that is a huge amount of options. Now it's going to range anywhere from their simple shock replacement kit, which costs around $1,000, all the way on up to their insane Stage 8 kit, which includes billet control arms, remote reservoir shocks, and their incredible CDEV technology. Now this includes an onboard computer that has real-time telemetry systems to gather information and data from the suspension while things are happening. It's making real-time adjustments and changes to the shock's damping for maximum performance. It also connects to your Bluetooth app and allows you to make real-time suspension adjustments from your phone in the car instead of getting out and turning the little clicker knobs that we're all used to in adjustable suspension. Now this is a massive spectrum that ranges anywhere from $1,000 on up to almost $10,000 for that top-of-the-line suspension kit, and that is a lot to process. So we couldn't possibly do that in this video, but if you want to reach out to us at 833 Motoroso, we'll help you navigate that Icon jungle. Now your next choice for putting together a suspension package for your Bronco is going to be to purchase coilovers individually and then pair them to the control arms that match your budget and your goals. Now we're going to talk about the control arms next, but in this section we're going to talk about the best coilovers in the industry, and this is where you're going to find the maximum top-of-the-line level of performance from the leading manufacturers of suspension technology. Starting, of course, with the guys over at King Shocks. Now these are pure off-road performance specialists. These guys have been powering the top echelons of trophy truck racing in the Baja 1000 for over 2 decades, and they got the championships to prove it. If you need any evidence just of how deadly focused they are on suspension technology only, just go visit their embarrassingly bad website and you'll see that they don't care about anything else except making great suspension. No offense, guys. Now, we made a separate video about their shocks. We'll put the link to that in the description and right here. We go into deep detail about how wonderful these products are for the Bronco, but these are also extremely hard to get, so make sure you reach out to us for lead times and pre-orders. Then, of course, there's class-leading product from the guys over at Fox Racing Shocks. Now, they've been designing and developing off-road suspension for top-level trophy trucks as well for a very long time, but they also have a Tier 1 supplier relationship directly with Ford. And they've been supplying top-level suspension for the Raptor and the new Bronco Raptor. That means they've had access to the Bronco for longer than probably any other suspension manufacturer, period. They've also had access to the deepest recesses of Ford's engineering and testing data, which should yield some of the best suspension available in the aftermarket. And that's going to manifest itself initially in the form of the Fox 2.5 DSC, which is going to be a 2-level dual-speed compression damping adjustment. High and low speed compression damping is going to allow you to adjust exactly the way you want your Fox shocks to perform and feel on the road and on the trail. Now these are also terribly backordered, but they are expected to arrive in January, which we're very excited about because we've been holding out on our own Motoroso Bronco because that's what we're going to be installing on ours. Now we're also going to make a detailed product spotlight video about these, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see that when it comes out along with our installation guide. And if you'd like to pre-order these, links to those in the description. Another high-end niche manufacturer is Radflow, and before SEMA, we weren't too familiar with their products, and we have to be honest that after SEMA, we're still not too familiar with their products. But it's clear that they're a high-end manufacturer with nice CNC machined parts, and they offer a suite of products available with and without compression damping adjustments. There's also a very interesting option coming down the pipeline from Old Man Emu, which is a brand under the ARB family, and ARB engineers the hell out of their product and comes in at a very fair price point. Now these are an internal bypass remote reservoir shock, and that's a lot of technology to pack into a coilover, so we're very excited to learn more, but unfortunately pricing and details are not available yet, but as soon as we get our hands on a set, we're going to put out a video about that, and we'll put a link to that in the description. And lastly, there's some budget shock replacements from Bilstein, because of course they're always going to have an application for just about everything out there. Now in this case, you're going to disassemble your stock coilover and you're going to repurpose your spring and your top hat, and you're going to end up with a better shock body. Now Bilstein does make the shocks that are on the Sasquatch already, so how much of a performance upgrade from OEM suspension this is, I don't know. So if you're looking for true performance upgrades, we're probably going to point you towards the Fox, the King, or even the Dirt Logics from the Fabtech kit. Now, once you've chosen coilovers, you can move on to the control arms portion to round out your complete lift kit. Now, you are going to need these control arms to do a number of things. Once you've got a new ride height, you need to correct for the geometry to get your alignment right so you don't start wearing through tires. You're also going to need to do this to make sure you don't break these key components, because the factory ones are not made to work within these operating ranges. And lastly, this is what's going to grant you the additional wheel travel so you can get maximum off-road performance. In this department, you're going to be comparing usually between a tubular steel control arm or a billet aluminum upper control arm, and the differences often come down to aesthetics, but there are a couple of advantages to the billet stuff. Let's start though with the tubular steel control arms. Now, tubular steel control arms are going to have all the necessary components to get all the performance gains, but without all the bling. Fabtech's upper control arm is made out of 4130 chromoly steel, which is extremely strong and rigid. It's going to give you a lot of trail feedback. It's got polyurethane bushings that are greasable, are going to last a long time, and it features an FK uniball that's 1 inch in diameter. It's going to give a great amount of articulation to support up to about a 4-inch lift. Now, Icon also makes a tubular steel control arm, but they're using a DOM steel, which has a little bit more compliance to it. It's a little softer. It's going to have more damping properties to it, and that features their 1-inch Delta Joint Pro, and that Delta Joint Pro is going to give all the articulation you need. And both of those options feature a nice CNC machine dust cap to give it a nice clean look. Now, at the highest price point for a tubular steel control arm, you've got the option from Camberg, which features all the same polyurethane bushings, but it also has a 1.25-inch uniball. Now, that extra size is going to support, I don't know, a little bit more strength, maybe a touch more articulation, but frankly, not sure it's worth the extra couple $100. And you've also got a handful of other options from brands like Skyjacker, Yeti, and BDS, but nothing too special to note there. Now, billet aluminum upper control arms offer 3 major advantages over tubular steel upper control arms. The first being adjustability, which will allow you fine-tuned adjustments for camber and caster should you ever need it for custom applications. They're also going to be extremely lightweight, but the main reason people go with billet control arms, just being honest, is because they look amazing. Our favorite come from Baja Kits, which is owned by Brenthal Industries, which builds some of the world's best trophy trucks. These are serious product that come in at retail consumer pricing and are available for your Bronco. We made a separate video about that. We'll put a link to that in the description, but these things are adjustable, feature a 1-inch trophy truck grade uniball, and they're available in raw aluminum or black anodized. There's also a great option which holds the best price point from Icon Vehicle Dynamics, also adjustable and features that Delta Joint Pro. And once again, bringing up the higher end of the price point is the Camberg, which features that 1.25-inch uniball, which again, I'm not so sure that's necessary for anything up to a 4-inch lift. Not a game changer, but also a great product. Next up, you'll also need to replace the trailing arms and possibly the upper links as well. Now, the trailing arm is the lower bar in the rear of the suspension, and that's going to be the most important for correcting the new ride height and adjusting and making sure you have the correct alignment. Now, there's also a set of upper links which aren't crucial to replace, but if you do replace them, that's going to give you that little bit of extra fine tuning if you need to get your suspension tuned just perfectly. Again, your options here are going to be between tubular steel and billet aluminum. Now, in the tubular steel, Fabtech makes a lower link option that comes in at a great price point. You've also got options for upper and lower from Icon and from Camberg. And on the billet front, our favorites over at Baja Kits make a beautiful I-beam construction in either raw aluminum or black anodized, and it comes with an integrated skid plate that can be replaced. They also make a nice set of upper arms. Icon Vehicle Dynamics, again, coming with the best price billet options, and the advantage that they show is that both their lower and upper arms are both adjustable. So that's going to allow you the maximum amount of adjustment should you need it. Of course, also beautiful options from Camberg, and RPG was showing off their new billet trailing arm. The The last component in rounding out their suspension is going to be the adjustable track bar. Now, the adjustable track bar is going to connect the frame to the rear axle, and on your Bronco, it is a fixed length. So when you've made all these changes, your axle could be shifted over a little bit weird. An adjustable track bar is going to allow you to correct that and make sure everything is literally tracking properly. That's going to make sure you don't wear through tires or run into any sort of steering weirdness. Now, these are not currently available in billet. We haven't seen any yet, so you don't really have that sort of truck candy option, but this is a pretty simple component. It doesn't need to be the strongest thing on earth, so a simple adjustable steel arm is going to be just fine, and there's good options from Fabtech, Icon, and Yeti. Now, this is not a suspension upgrade, but if you're upgrading to 37-inch tires or more, you're definitely going to want to upgrade to a stronger tie rod system. A lot of people have been breaking their stock tie rods. It is one of the weakest points of this new Bronco, and you don't want that to happen to you out on the trail, so make sure you get a tie rod upgrade. We're going to be releasing a video about tie rod options, so make sure you subscribe to the channel to see that when it comes out. All right, lastly, let's talk about the long travel options that we found at SEMA. And who could have missed the Fun Runner mid-travel and the Fun Haver long travel builds? Those things are epic, but those things look extremely custom to me, and clearly a lot of fabrication in that Fun Haver. Now, they said that these products are going to be available eventually, but they haven't announced when nor the pricing, so we have no idea what to tell you. They also said that they're going to go through special dealers, so it kind of sounds to us like this is probably going to be more of a hand over your Bronco and a big old check and get your Bronco back when they're done with it, but we have no way of knowing. If you'd like something that is actually in the market right now, then clearly you should be taking a look at what dominated some of the best builds at SEMA this year, and that was the Baja Kits +3 Pre-Runner Kit. And this kit is actually quite a lot of bang for the buck. It's going to cost you about $10,000 to do it, which is a lot of money, but it includes an upper control arm and a front lower control arm, as well as axle extensions, and that's going to widen your Bronco by 3 inches on each side, widening your track by 6 inches total and giving you a significant gain in overall wheel travel as well. And all this can work with the stock fenders, but a lot of the builds that we saw used aftermarket fenders, and what results is a killer pre-runner looking Bronco that's ready to tackle some serious off-road trails down on the Baja Peninsula. I also love this because it can be mated with a regular off-the-shelf King Shock or Fox 2.5 DSC, and it's going to perform just perfectly. Baja Kits is also making this optional rear bypass shock mount, which allows you to mount an 8-inch stroke King bypass shock, which will have compression damping and rebound damping controls, giving you way more control over the way the rear is going to feel, and it's a great complement to this pre-runner kit. And this product is in market, available now, and I'm excited to tell you, we've decided this is what's going to go on our Motoroso Bronco build, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out our product spotlight when we get all those products in-house and can take you through all the features and functionality. And if you'd like to pre-order one of those kits, check out the link in the video description. All right, I know we covered a lot, and as usual, we're going to put links to everything in the description. Those links will take you over to Motoroso.com, where you can buy on our website. Of course, you can also reach us there on live chat or call us toll-free at 833-MOTOROSO. We would love to help you with your Bronco build. Now check out this video over here, which is all the bumper options that we found at SEMA. You're gonna need a set of aftermarket bumpers to make clearance for those larger wheels and tires you're gonna run. Plus, it's a great way to mount a winch or aftermarket lighting. We hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.